not made a garden video in a long time. This is Pookie, Comrade Pookie, garden helper. Thank for help. Unfortunately, Buford died around Thanksgiving, so I have no buddy. But Pookie came to stay with us in January, and she's a good helper. She helps a lot. This is today's salad. It is salad time. See that salad? Delicious. Here in Spokane, usually spring is not very long, but this year we have a very long spring. So luckily, I have spinach. It's given my spinach a chance to get really big. So I've moved some stuff around again this year, as usual. We've got our usual, flowers. It's raining a little too, which is nice. This is meant to be the asparagus bed and rhubarb. There's the rhubarb, finally doing good. And I fucked up and I planted onions and a garlic among the asparagus before finding out that asparagus doesn't like to have its roots messed with at all. So we have like 3 or 4 asparaguses coming up. I'm slowly putting strawberries in here, and once that garlic comes out, this bed will just be strawberries and asparagus and a little sage. Over here are the pawpaw trees. There's a gooseberry, pawpaw trees, and mushroom patch. They're all leafing out. It's doing good. There's where the strawberries came from, the shade. I don't know why I put them in the shade. I also have ramps coming up this year from some bulbs I planted last year. There's some. Hopefully those take off, and eventually I have a patch I can harvest. Lilac. The mulberries are doing good. My sumacs and raspberries and more onions. This mulberry's going crazy. There's the poppies, more razzleberries. The long bed is going to be okra, sorghum, some corn this year, and peppers. I have a pepper and eggplant patch. That's all the spinach there for now. Some lettuce. But here's the peppers and eggplants. And an apple tree loaded. I gotta thin them. Raspberries. That apple tree made 2 apples last year. And there's onions and garlic all along here. Another apple tree. It's got a few. Grapes trained. These are the onions I was trying to move. I don't know if they'll live. And all the mint. I had to dig up all that mint from in here from the 2 grapevines. This pear tree's dead, I think. But the rootstock's alive. So maybe I can graft it next year. Squashes. This grapevine is doing really good this year. I went online and looked around a little bit, and I figured out that Himrod likes to be pruned aggressively. So I cut it all the way back to the stump, and look at all of these little grape flowers. And then those are blue poppies. Here's another apple tree with a bunch of grafts, a lamb abbey that's fruiting. More onions. The nectarine has some nectarines on it. Another little loaded apple. There's the plum tree. This long strip here has corn and beans and sorghum already coming up. This one has some squashes and tomatoes. And then let's go down Tomato Row. I don't know if there's some sorghum. I don't know if you remember Tomato Row from last year. It was tomatoes on both sides. Same deal this year. Tomatoes on both sides. This side has a lot of radishes and stuff, but there'll be basil in there eventually. The auroch, that red spinachy stuff, originally there was a handful of plants here. They seeded everywhere. I'm going to try to use them as ground cover next year. And then we have some lettuces, squashes over there. That's a whole row of squashes. The auroch. And then in here are some tomatillos. I cram everything in so tight. Here's the plum tree in all its glory. We've got like 4 different grafts that took and fruited. There's the schoolhouse plum next to all the trash. And my fig and avocado and citrus trees are all, and there's some flowers. They're all surrounding the new bird bath we got. We got a bird bath as a gift, and it's so cool. And then back there is a few potato bags and a cactus, strangely enough, which is doing good. The olive trees are flowering. We have a lemon, a lime, and a lemon this year. Lots of figs coming up. These are some sapodillas. I bought these, and I'm hoping that they take well in the containers. And then over here we've got, under that is sweet potatoes. It's not warm enough yet. Onions and fennel. This year's big tobacco patch. Baby figs and things, little trees we're trying to start. Some golden berries that are already fruiting. Strawberries making flowers. Hawkins is trying to grow all these baby trees. I don't know if that's going to work. The cucumbers died. And then there's melons in there and some zinnias, but that's a melon patch. More fig department over here. And behind them is a squash and a little maple tree and some hollyhocks. Over there is the pallets I'm going to use for a few projects. And that is our pet cemetery back there. I'm going to plant some of these figs back there this year. So this is the overview, kind of, just the neighborhood here that we're working in. You can see over here, this is obviously my greens. Lots of lettuce, salads. There's a few peppers in the back there. And I'm training that Arkansas black to lean over and shade so we can continue to grow lettuces in there. This is the herb garden. It's starting to take off. These garlics are huge this year. And then there's a little Gravenstein apple tree at the end of it, which has a few apples on. Over on this side, thyme. But in here, the shade garden, this is in full shade all day. The clover, of course, rule, but there's a few hostas struggling in there. A lot of violets, common violets, and a few ostrich ferns. 2 came back, and 2 are new. This is my experimental morel patch with ashes, pine straw. We'll see what happens. It had mycelium this year, but no mushrooms, so maybe next year. That's a big gooseberry loaded with berries, climbing up. I gotta clean off the porch. Brugmansia's happy. The rain barrels, that green one sucks. It's leaking. Gotta get rid of it. I have 2 of these black ones, but I gotta get rid of that green one. You know, and this is just like the junk pile. I have to clean up because the greenhouse is empty now. And then over here, we have our hazelnut. I'm gonna eventually hedge these out once they get a little bigger. But that's the garden tour. Pookum, Comrade Pookie, thanks for help. Weeds. So yeah, it's you know, stuff's growing. Of course, there's the whole front of the house, which is many more apple trees, crab apples, pears, 2 of which have pears on them. We have a pear back here that has 1 pear on it. They're young, they shouldn't have any, but they do. And then tons and tons of like ornamental stuff, just tulips and irises, and my prairie sage patch is huge this year. So yeah, that's the garden tour. That's the up-to-date. I'll make another video shortly about beginning to garden, like beginning gardeners, because I see this year, much like 2020 when I first started making these videos, people are getting nervous and they want to start planting things. They don't know where to even begin. So I'm going to make a video about planning a garden, where to start, like the first things you should do, and just take it from there, and address any questions in the comments, I guess, and do it that way. So yeah, that's my trash garden, and I'll have a video up in the next day or 2 about how to get started, and how to plant so that you get what you want out of your garden, even in the first year. I know I'm not like high energy exciting most of the time like some garden channels, and I never sell anything. My garden technique has no name. I am not part of any like school of thought with gardening. I try not to spray because it's expensive. The only school of thought I have with my garden is what's easy, what's cheap, and what'll make food for me, or will I really like to look at it. So if you're looking for like permaculture, organics, or any kind of fancy like system, I am not your guide. Like, I am just here to like grow the food that I like as cheaply and easily as possible with the least amount of money spent. It's a trash garden. It's trash gardening. It's not even chaos gardening. It's trash gardening. Um, but if you have an older house or you have a brand new space that you're trying to work with, a lot of the stuff I do will be a really big help because people will tell you that you need to put and buy all kinds of things. Just start gardening, and you don't need to buy anything, honestly. Everything that I have here, with the exception of the greenhouse, the rain barrels, and I'm trying to think what else. There's probably one or two other things. A few of the trees. Everything else I got here for free. The rain barrels and greenhouse were gifts, so technically those were free too. But most of the stuff here was either free or so incredibly cheap. So you can do it. You can do it with very little money and very little input, as long as you have dirt and sun and water. That's all you need. The other thing is that, container gardening, stuff like that. I do both in-ground, mounded, and container gardening. I don't really have any real raised beds, simply because I haven't had the money and energy to build them. But I did get a bunch of those free pallets. So one of my projects is to recreate the New Jersey guy, Prigioni. He's very high energy, but I don't know about buying soil or anything like that, but I do like how he built some of his raised beds. So I'm going to try to use those pallets to do that. And we might have a video on that. I might try to film one when I do it. I don't know. Construction projects around here are pretty nightmarish. I measure once and cut 3 times, that kind of stuff. But it can be amusing to watch. So I grow mostly in what I call mounded beds. I just put old planks or whatever I've got, rocks, anything around the end. And then I just pile up old leaves from the neighbor's house, pine straw from my driveway, wood chip from Chip Drop, which is free, or any kind of manure or dirt or anything I can find online for free that people are giving away. And I make mounds of it, just like a pile of it, on the ground, just directly on the ground. If there's a lot of grass or weeds, I'll put cardboard and then put all that stuff on top. And then I just plant into that. So my beds, they're between like maybe 3 and 6 to 8 inches above the soil line, which is the paths. I keep the paths pretty clear. I just rake them and then take a hoe and scrape down to the dirt. I don't have any hardscaping. I don't feel like putting the money and energy into it. I used logs to build my one like raised bed, and those logs came from the neighbor's tree they were having cut down. So free materials are what I'm all about. Cheap, free, and using other people's waste streams or discarded items as my garden structure and my garden inputs. So if you want to learn about that, welcome to learning about that. All of my previous garden videos talk about that and how to make things last longer or go further or divide things to get more than one, that kind of thing. I have a feeling like more people are broke and are feeling really overwhelmed by how much they're being told to buy to start gardening. No. Go to the library, free seed exchange, go to a garden swap for free starts, pick a spot, plant something. The worst thing you can do is kill it. And if you're a good gardener, you're going to kill almost everything. You're going to kill tons of things. Tons. So much stuff dies here. It just gets put back into the dirt and turns into good dirt for later. So you're not really killing anything, even though you are. Black thumb of doom. That black thumb of doom will actually help your soil get better over time. Feeding the soil takes a long time. So don't worry about that stuff yet. Pick a spot, get hold of a thing, plant it. That's your start. You've started gardening. And we'll do a beginner's video I'll see if I can get some help to do a beginner's video here pretty soon. I hope you enjoyed the garden tour. It's been a while. It's been crap since last fall, I think. Since I left the clock app for obvious reasons. So yeah, more to